Hello there everybody, welcome back to a new video on my channel. It's your favorite Ohioan Buckeye Politics coming back with my August Senate prediction. So, we did the governor prediction, I believe it was 2 days ago. The Senate prediction was supposed to come out yesterday for the maybe like 2 people who were waiting for it. I apologize, I was busy. So, you're getting it today at like 9:30 at night. So, we all know what's happening in Afghanistan. We all know that's going to be a red wave year. So, there's not much else to say about it. Let's get into it. So, we have Republicans will most likely, for a fact, carry all these following states. Obviously, the Dakotas and Utah, Idaho, safe red states. Likely the state of Iowa. I'm going to include that as a red state if Chuck Grassley runs. Even if Chuck Grassley does not run, I feel like his son would definitely win it by a safe margin. And Iowa's a red trending state, so honestly, Iowa's pretty safe to put as a red state. If Grassley runs, for sure. If Grassley doesn't run, then it still has a more than 50-50 shot at being safe red, just because of trends and the way the state's going. Missouri, it's not going to go blue. I'm sorry, but for all the people out there saying Missouri is going to be competitive and it's going to go blue, you're stupid. Missouri is not going blue. Um, Likely same with the state of Kansas, as well as Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama. Hopefully we can get Mo Brooks. That'd be kind of based in Alabama. Um, I mean, we need someone. Trump did a rally with Mo Brooks in Alabama on last weekend, and that was a pretty based rally. So I'm hoping Mo Brooks will be the nominee, and if he does, he'll be a great senator for Alabama. The states of Kentucky and Indiana will likely also be safe red. Rand Paul will win in Kentucky handily because it's so red, and Indiana is pretty much the same reason. As South Carolina will also be safe red. So with that, we have 44 safe red seats, and we are now filling the safe blue seats. They include the states of Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Connecticut, Vermont, and New York. For these states, you have the West Coast. It's pretty generic, liberal. Nothing crazy is going to happen on the West Coast. Uh, Looking at Illinois, could be a few points. Illinois and like Connecticut could be a few points closer. Same with maybe Maryland, but really they're not going to be competitive. So with that, we have 11 states that are going to actually be have some sort of competitiveness. We're going to start off with the state of Alaska, which I believe will be likely are. Now, I don't believe Alaska's trending blue. I made a whole video on why it is trending a little blue, but it's probably nothing to worry about. And I just think that with the ranked choice voting that's going on in Alaska, with Lisa Murkowski, there's a primary challenger, and Kelly Tshibaka for the Republicans. With all the ranked choice voting and crazy stuff, a Republican will win in Alaska for sure. It just probably won't be by 10, 12 points. It'll probably be like closer to 5 points, just because there's probably going to be a lot of vote splitting, a lot of really complicated election process stuff going on. So Alaska will certainly go red, just probably not by the margins you'd expect. And even if it does go red by the margins you expect and it's a complete blowout, I mean, it still probably would. It's just the whole complicated process. I don't want to get into it, so I'm putting it as likely R. So that's my spiel about Alaska. The other state that we're not going to talk too much about that is still, I'd consider somewhat competitive, is the state of Colorado. Um, Colorado is a pretty used to be a base state. Now it's gone pretty far left. It's gone to the Biden won it by 9 points. I believe it swung 5 points left from 2016, mostly because of the growth in the Denver area. Colorado probably will not be coming back to the GOP anytime soon. With that said, I could see it getting a few points close. It will definitely be a few points closer than it was in 2020, when Cory Gardner lost the election for the Senate seat. I think the election in 2022 will be similar to that, maybe a point or two closer. But yeah, still likely Democrat. I did forget to color in the state of Florida will be safe red for Marco Rubio, just because A, Florida's red trends, and B, Marco Rubio won it by 8 or 9 points in 2016 anyways, when Florida was still a swing state. So Florida will, for almost a fact, be safe for Marco Rubio, just because of trends and Rubio's popularity in the state. So these are the states. Now we finally have the states that will really be competitive. We're going to go east to west, my usual fashion. We're putting the state of New Hampshire as a lean red state because literally Chris Sununu has done everything you can do to run for Senate except say you're running for Senate. Like, it's almost like if he doesn't run for Senate, that would be the biggest like shocker in political history, possibly, at least for this century. Um, so yeah, that would be very interesting if Sununu doesn't run. I think all signs point to the fact that he will run. So that I have Chris Sununu winning New Hampshire by a lean margin, probably by about 1.5 to maybe 2 points. Chris Sununu, he's a very good candidate statewide. He's sort of moderate, but he's also pretty conservative, especially for a northeastern Republican. So that's always good to see. And yeah, he won. He's a very popular governor. So I think if he runs for the Senate, it will certainly be a bit closer. I don't agree with some other right-leaning political predictors who literally say that if Sununu runs, New Hampshire is like going to be likely red and it's going to be an automatic flip. No, we're going to have to work for it. No, Sununu running is not an automatic flip for us in New Hampshire. But I do think that if Sununu does run, he will win if the uh, if the environment is right, which all signs point to the fact it will be, and if he runs a good campaign and really works for it, which I believe he can, and especially if you look at his governorship campaigns. Looking at the state of Pennsylvania, I am putting that in the tilt red column. Um, Pennsylvania is a very interesting state for the Senate election because similar to Ohio's primary in the 11th district a while back, actually, it feels so long ago, but really it was only like 2 weeks ago. You got the Democrats have this uh, progressive candidate, and they also have more of a moderate candidate vying for their nomination. While the Republicans have quite a few people running, include people like Sean Parnell, Jeff Bartos, Sean Gale, Kathy Barnett. The Republicans bench is very deep in Pennsylvania, and so that's the main reason I think Wisconsin. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but that's the main reason I think that Republicans will hang on to the seat in Pennsylvania. Is simply because our bench is just so deep, and the opposition is literally just establishment versus progressive. So whichever side wins, the other side's going to be all pissed and not going to turn out. And in a red wave year, in a red trending state, with a good candidate, which we certainly could get as the bench is so deep, I'm very confident we will win Pennsylvania by a tilt margin. Looking at the state of Ohio, my great home state, I'm putting that as likely R. Please do not support Josh Mandel. I'm not like being dramatic. Please do not support Josh Mandel if you're a Republican. He is a horrible candidate. He will have a hard time winning Ohio if he's the Republican nominee, just because literally nobody likes him. Support J.D. Vance. I would rather we get a Jane Timken, who may not be the best candidate, but we know she'll at least vote with the GOP most of the time, and be confident that Jane Timken will win the race, than Josh Mandel, who might be the better candidate for the America First movement, but who might not have a shot at winning. We need to make sure you win the Senate at all costs. So I'm not saying, oh, vote Rhinos, 'cause it's the only way to win. But I am saying we have to be smart about this, especially when there's an incredible candidate in J.D. Vance that that will win the election and will be just as good as a fighter as Mandel. That's my rant. Tim Ryan doesn't have a chance. Ohio is likely R. I'd say if with Timken or J.D. Vance on the ballot, I'd say it's probably R plus 8, R plus 9. I think J.D. Vance might even outperform Trump. Well, if it's Mandel, I'd say it's maybe R plus 3, R plus 4, and even then, that's more of that's in a red favorable year. So if things turn around, which I doubt they will, but still, Josh Mandel, not the most electable guy. Looking at the state of Wisconsin, that's going to be lean R. If incumbent Ron Johnson is if he decides to run, which I'm pretty confident he will run for re-election, but in the chance he doesn't, I still think it'll be lean R. If Ron Johnson runs, he'll probably win it by 4 to 5 points. While if he retires and another Republican runs, they'll probably win it by about 1, 2, maybe 3 if it's a really good year. But Wisconsin, not much to talk about. Trump should have won it in 2020. After 2022, it's probably not going to go to red on any level except maybe local elections for a long time. North Carolina, I'm putting that as lean R. I'm considering putting it as likely, but I'm going to put it as lean. probably barely lean. North Carolina, Wisconsin may vote very similar in this election. As you know, we have Richard Burr in the state of North Carolina, the Republican. He's pretty much a rhino at this point. He is a rhino. He's retiring, so hopefully we can get a pickup there. Ted Budd, who was endorsed by Donald Trump, he's a good candidate. Ted Budd will most likely win the primary thanks to Trump's endorsement, and he will probably win the state by about 4 or 5 points. North Carolina, I will consider putting as likely. For now, I'm putting it as just barely in the lean column, probably about 4.5 points. But I will certainly be willing to change that depending on demographics and polls. But yeah, I think Ted Budd should have North Carolina pretty well wrapped up. He should win it by about 4.5 points. Georgia, Georgia, Georgia. Oh my gosh. I have been going back and forth between Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock in my head for a long time. And I eventually am deciding. I don't know, because let me explain why I'm a little bit skeptical of Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker is the Republicans' best shot to take back Georgia in 2022. Don't get me wrong, he has a very good chance of doing so. But with that said, think about it. Herschel Walker is pretty much a Trump Republican running in a suburban. Georgia's unfortunately becoming a suburban neoliberal state. It's becoming that way. It's competitive now, but it won't be for a long time. He's running we have a candidate who has admitted to holding a gun to his wife's head, has not lived in Georgia for 15 years, and is running in a state that probably in a few years from now won't even be close for the Republicans just because of Atlanta's growth. I mean, is that really Herschel Walker? I think he can definitely win. I don't want to sound like, oh, there's no point in even trying in Georgia. We can win in Georgia, and Herschel Walker is the best shot. But even in the circumstances right now, I'm having a hard time seeing it. However, I am going to put it as tilt R because of where we're at right now. Like I said, this is if trends continue to go the way they are. Biden continues to bomb. Georgia, maybe the suburban voters kind of swing back a little bit. So Herschel Walker could win. But when you really think about it, he's not this candidate that's going to come in here and save Georgia. He's not going to be like this crazy candidate to reverse all the trends and win in Georgia. He's just not. Maybe if he had a little more of a clean slate and if Georgia's demographics were just a tad bit different. But could he win? Yes. Do I necessarily see it? No, but I'm putting it as tilt R because of the trends as of now and because he is the Republicans' best shot. It's really, a national environment has a huge impact on races. The turnout in many cases often matters more than the actual candidates. So that's why I'm putting Georgia as tilt R. Looking at the state of Arizona, I'm putting that as lean R. This is Arizona is a state that I've been very skeptical about. It's very hard to predict, and I've been kind of flipping it between blue and red. I'm putting it as red now for a few reasons. Number one, the Republicans in Arizona are doing a hell of a job. They're doing an incredible job at Kristen Sinema. They're saying Mark Kelly. They're alienating a lot of moderate voters because they're saying Mark Kelly is not moderate like Kristen Sinema. Mark Kelly, he's not as electable as some people may say. Obviously, he's a very electable candidate. He's kind of like he's a national hero. He went to space. But think about it this way. Against a completely awful candidate, Martha McSally, in 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, in a state that I don't necessarily consider Arizona a neocon state, it certainly has some neocon tendencies, especially because it just loves McCain. In a wave that completely favored the Democrats in Arizona, in a year that completely favored the Democrats in Arizona against a completely awful candidate for the Republicans, Mark Kelly won the state by 2 points. So it wasn't a landslide. I mean, you have a national hero running against a horrible candidate in a blue wave year, especially in Arizona, in Maricopa County, and he wins by 2 points. I don't know. I think, like I said, in talking about Georgia, national environment and turnout has a much bigger impact than the candidates. If Democrats don't turn out and white suburbanites don't turn out, then Arizona will flip. I know that I know that because that's just how it works. So Arizona will, as of now, I mean, they're Mark Kelly supporters are being alienated by the Arizona GOP. They're doing an incredible job right now, and B, Mark Kelly, he's a good candidate, but he's not a great candidate. Arizona is right now I consider it a pure toss-up, and it's very difficult to predict. And Mark Kelly, he he should have won by much bigger margins considering everything that happened in 2020. Does he have a shot at re-election? Yes. I'm not saying Mark Kelly's for sure losing, but I mean certainly right now you have to admit that the environment favors the Republicans. Looking at the state of Nevada, Nevada's interesting. I'm putting it as tilt R. I think Adam Laxalt will win in Nevada against Catherine Cortez Masto. I think that it'll be a much more difficult race to flip than the governorship. I think the governorship should be almost a surefire flip, depending on the nominees and trends. Obviously, I'm saying this so many times, but national environment matters. If the Republicans are energized and they turn out in heavy numbers, we will get this map and possibly flip even more states. I mean, well, I don't really see any more states than this, but you understand what I'm saying maybe more on the House or governorship level. We have a very good Trump did a very good job at turning voters out. If Trump campaigns for the Republicans, Trump has to find this right balance between being really involved in the race, which it'll turn out Republicans, but it'll also turn out the opposition, versus Trump not campaigning, in which Republicans won't really turn out that much, but I mean neither will the opposition. So if Trump can just find that good median, he campaigns hard, turns Republicans out, but doesn't overdo it and doesn't maybe doesn't get all the media attention, doesn't make some crazy comments or now that he's on Twitter. Twitter banning Trump may help him. I'm not saying this for a fact, but I mean think about it. When you think of people's issues with Trump, it's he said mean things on Twitter. He can't do that. And if people can't watch the rallies because we're being censored, guess what? It's going to turn out Republicans because the Republicans are going to watch. They're going to be energized. And Democrats, I bet you half the people who voted for Biden haven't seen one thing from Trump because he's not on Twitter and he's being censored. So simple as that, turnout will matter. And I think there were Democrats maybe shooting themselves in the foot with all this. Do I support the censorship? Absolutely not. But you got to admit that they could have literally just handed us 2022 and on a silver platter. So with that, these are my predictions. I expect about an R+3 electorate, which I'm repeating again. Electorates are the thing that makes the election. If it's R+3, then all of this should happen. Plus maybe more on the House and governorship level. But if it's D+3, then I expect several of these states to flip back because in every single state, it's not about the candidate. It's not about the platform. It's not even about the demographics. About the race and the education. Well, education I suppose could matter, but it's all about turnout. It's really you gotta just gauge who's turning out and go from there. So with that, because of Biden's horrible handling of Afghanistan, the national environment trending red, and Republicans being energized, I think Republicans will pick up quite a few seats and end up with 54 seats in the Senate, and then they will heavily expand on that majority in 2024. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe.